Hey y'all, welcome back to a fun Wednesday connection where each week we will have a devotional and learn some origami. So last week I told you I wasn't for sure if our paper craft was technically origami, but since we had to make one fold, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say yes, it was origami. At least I think so. This week though, there is no doubt it's definitely origami. Don't worry, it's an easy project. Each week, as we advance our paper folding skills, the projects will get a little bit harder. But today, we are going to make this easy little fish. Before we get started on our origami project, I would like to tell you a story about some fishermen in the Bible. How many of you have ever gone fishing? What did you use for bait? Did you use night crawlers like these? Did you catch any fish? Fishing can be fun, can't it? But it can also be kind of disgusting. You have to pull the worm apart and squish it onto the hook. Maybe you just have your parents do that part. But then if you catch a fish and if you want to keep it, you have to clean them. Ugh, I don't like that part at all. Our story today is about some men who were fishermen. They didn't just fish for fun though. Fishing was their job. They fished just about every day and they were probably pretty good at it. They didn't use bait to catch their fish though. They used a big net and they would scoop up a lot of fish at one time. This one night though, they weren't having much luck. They spent the whole night sailing in their boats from one side of the lake to the other trying to catch some fish. They threw their nets in the water and they pulled them back many times. But guess what? They just couldn't seem to find the fish. They fished all night and all they got were some dirty nets. As they were cleaning their nets the next morning, Jesus came up to Simon Peter, who was one of the fishermen, and told him to take his boat back out into the lake and throw out his net again. Simon Peter and his friends were very tired and hungry, but they did what Jesus said and went back out into the lake again and threw out their nets just where Jesus told them to throw it. And when they pulled their nets up this time, guess what? They were so heavy with fish, the net started to rip. Simon Peter called to his friends in the other boat to come over and help him. Soon they caught so many fish that their boats were beginning to sink. The fishermen were amazed. How did Jesus know where the fish were? They had looked all night long and couldn't find them. They thought that there had to be something very special about this man, Jesus. They were really excited to meet him. Then Jesus did something else really amazing. He told the fishermen that if they'd follow him, he would make them fishers of men. This sounded really exciting to the fishermen. They knew how to catch fish, but men? How could they not follow a man who seemed to know everything? The fishermen left their boats and everything they had and followed Jesus. They became Jesus' disciples and learned from Jesus how to become fishers of men. When we follow Jesus, we learn how to be fishers of men. But what does that mean? Instead of catching fish, we catch people. Not in nets though. We tell people about Jesus so they too will want to follow him. But what kind of bait do we use to catch men? We use God's word. Fishing can be fun, but it can also be a little bit messy and smelly. But the good thing is when we catch men for Jesus, we don't have to clean them. Jesus takes care of that part. Now, who's ready to make our paper fish? All you will need for today's craft is a square piece of paper. But if all you have is a rectangular piece, don't worry. I'll show you how to make it into a perfect square. Let's get started. Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to make a yellow fish. I already have one example of a blue fish here, so I'll use yellow. But to get a square piece of paper, you can do that pretty easily from this rectangle. All you have to do is take one corner and put it down like this where you leave this overhang. Do you see that? And then you can go ahead and crease it if you want. Sometimes it's not good to crease it, but as long as you make sure that it's completely perfectly lined up, it's okay to go ahead and give it a crease. So now we are going to cut that extra overhang off. That should leave you with two pieces of paper, one square and one long rectangle. Now, to make the fish, all you have to do is take your square piece of paper and fold it corner to corner like this and make a big triangle. Now, open it back up and fold it the other way on the other diagonal, like this. Make sure it's lined up before you crease it hard. Okay, and once you have it, another triangle, open it up again. So this is gonna give you a big X inside of your square. Do you see that? Now, we are going to fold it like a hot dog and make a long rectangle, and then open it up and do the exact same thing the other way. Now, when you open up your paper, do you see how there's all these lines? It kind of looks like an asterisk mark. Now, what we're gonna do next is kind of tricky, but you can do it. We're going to fold the side triangles in while we push out the other side. So our goal is to make a small triangle that has some flaps. If you grab the middle like this and put your fingers around, it kind of helps it out. And when you do this, I'll show you up close in just a minute. Okay, so now it just looks like a triangle, but look, you can open up each side. Do you see that? So if you look at it from the top, it's gonna look like this. You look at it from the bottom, whoop, I dropped it. Okay, so see, we're doing this and we're gonna squish it in. So now we have our triangle. All you have to do now, super easy. Turn it either way to you, and you're gonna take one side of the triangle, not both of them. We don't want both, we just want one. And we're gonna fold it towards the center. Do you see that? Let's do it one more time. So we have our triangle, we're gonna fold it towards the center. Now we have to do the top. We're gonna take this down and, oh, popped out. Fold it down. This is going to give you, be sure to crease it really hard. This is going to give you the fishtail when you turn it over. Now, the only thing left to do you see the fishtail? The only thing left to do now is draw an eye on it. If you have a googly eye, you can put that. But if you don't, just use a marker to draw an eye. Let's see. All right, look, there's our little fish. There you have it, boys and girls, a little paper fish that you can keep as a reminder that just like Jesus called Simon Peter to come and follow him, he calls us to do the very same. Go out and be fishers of men. We'll see you next week.